ready. So we're gonna wood grain a model in today. So what I have is in front of me is the dash rail, and it was primed and painted in the base color. So here is the Model A Ford paint finish guide. Here's our base color. So you can see it's a good match. Okay. So then I always like to clean them off first. Make sure there's no dirt or whatever, so I'll wipe it down. Now I'm ready to wood grain. So the first thing that I'm going to do is put some toner on the dash rail. Just get a little of that, put it on a paper towel. Now you don't have to do this. You can tone it later. You can tone it first and after, whatever. The reason I like to do this, it helps with blending. So you get a little patina of ink. So later, when you put down a couple of prints, if you end up having to wipe off or whatever, it's not going to show up. Because every time you wipe off your pattern, you leave a little bit of ink behind. So if you end up wiping off a couple times, you're going to end up with, you know, just a little darker shade.
So that's a secret tip you just let out.
Yeah, I don't usually share that.
Well, good. It's good you did. So many times we always put the toner on after we print, but this is kind of the way that she likes to do it, and her jobs turn out.
So just smear that on. Make sure you get it in these little this little, you know, indentation. Okay, and then get us another paper towel, wipe it off. So,
Using a nice light touch, right?
yeah, you don't want to take every little piece of it off. You know, you want to leave a little bit behind, but you can take most of it off right now because this is what I do for pre-wood grain. So we toned it. Now we gotta get our things together for wood graining. First thing I like to do, I get my ink stirred up real good, and I'm gonna put some on this pad. That's for when I need to blend later. That'll be available to me. Then, you know, you want to keep a little paper towel handy for wiping off. Got my pencil, my brush, got my sandpaper or my blending paper, a little magnet here, and squeegee. So now I'm ready to ink up my plate. You don't need a whole lot on the plate. You don't need a whole lot on the plate, not that much to start off with. And then on your Dr. Blade, there's two edges. One is beveled, the other is not. So you just want to see what works for you. I like to use the not beveled side.
I like to use the beveled side.
To each his own.
But I have a tip. I have a tip.
Okay.
The consistency of the graining compound needs to be about like cold pancake syrup, huh? And it will get a little thicker sometime as it sits in the container, but you can use the toner to add to it to thin it down, to get it right around the consistency of
Pancake syrup.
yeah.
Yep. Well, let's put this across a couple times, get the hang of it. Okay. Now, I need a roller. I'm going to use this.
I'm going to zoom in a little bit. Okay.
Here's my print. You can see where I started it. And then I'm going to run out. So, I like to start at this end. So I'm just going to put this down. Now you see this line. Obviously I picked that up. Maybe I hesitated as I rolled. I'm just going to start beyond it. So I'm just going to start on this side of that line. Put this down and press nice and hard. First section done. Clean your roller off.
Let me get a close-up of that. So it got down into the indentations, no problem?
Yeah, pretty good. If I need to, I see a little area, I'm going to touch it with the brush. But first I'm going to put this next section.
Okay.
So I want to put my sandpaper, rough side down. I'm going to put it right at this hole, to the last of where the print is good. Put it right there, and I'll hold it with magnet. I don't want it to slip around. So the reason I'm doing that, the sandpaper will not wick up the wet ink, and if we don't slide it, it won't harm anything. So now this extra piece here, I need to get rid of that. So I'll take my paper towel. There's nothing on the paper towel. I'm just gonna wipe that off. Give me a nice, clean starting and stopping point. So now I'm ready to put down my second pass. So I've cleaned my roller.
By the way, how do you clean your roller?
Roll it on the clean paper until it's fairly clean.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And now you're ready for your second pass. You'll have to re-ink your plate each time. So let's do that. When you re-ink your plate, whatever side of the blade that you're using, continue to use that same side. Don't flip it back and forth, because that will leave blobs of ink all along and make a mess. So always use the same side. And let it rest at that end. Now we can pick up. So we've got our next section. We put that one down right on top of the paper. And go. Now, I have this fat roller and I have some print left on it. So I'm maybe gonna do this little rock and roll thing right here. I'm gonna not lift it at all. I'm just gonna rock the part and roll back. So now I got that whole section there. So I'll take the paper off. Clean your roller by rolling it on the paper. Get the extra ink off. You always want to get that extra ink off. If you don't get the extra ink off, one print would be darker than the other and it won't match up.
So you were able to wrap that print all the way around then by using the rock and roll method.
Yeah. So now
So that looks-
I'm going to go ahead and print the other half, what I didn't get yet. Zoom on down on there. So I got this part, but not that part. So again with the sandpaper, I'm going to put it to the last of wherever it's good still. It's good right about here. Hold it with the magnet. You could use a smaller piece, but I'm just use this big piece because I've got it here. And then take my paper towel and get rid of this part. Okay, now I gotta get me some print to put down. Okay, so now I'm just going to start on the paper and roll back down. Now I got half the dash done. I'm just going to do some blending before I go any further. So I'm going to take my brush. I don't want any ink on this brush yet, because I just want to move some of the ink that's already there. So I'm just going to use it kind of dry, move some of the stuff that's already there. Just want that line to not be obvious. The two seams. So once it looks pretty good, leave it be. Because the general rule is the less you touch it, the better it's going to look. So that's okay. Let's come back to this one. Pushing some of the ink across the line. And I might pull some of it back. might use my pencil a little bit, use the eraser part. I just want to move some of this. It's kind of dark there. I want to move some of it around. Little patience right here. You take your time. Even after this dries, you can still come back with your eraser and erase like a dark spot that needs to go away. So that is not a big deal. Now if you do it and like you printed it and oh man, you just cannot get this blend to look right, just put your sandpaper down, wipe it off, and start over to the last of wherever it's still good and continue on. As long as you're still getting a little section at a time printed, you're not wasting your time, you're just doing a good job. Okay, so I'm a little finger action. I'm gonna call that okay. So we're moving right along. So we got about half the dash done. So again, sanding paper. So we'll put our paper down. It's good to about right here. So I'm gonna put the paper right there. You could back it up, use this hole, but yeah. I'm gonna put it right here. Hold it in place. Get rid of this. Blob over here. If you don't have any ink on your arms, you're not doing it right. So you need to make a little bit of a mess. Okay. Get it down here. Now I'm ready. Put it down on the paper. Roll it. You're gonna follow the curve of the dash rail because you want those lines to go with the curve. Except on the top, you just want them to go nice and straight. Uh-oh. I got sandpaper, but it's okay.
Okay.
Should have used two.
It should be a smaller piece.
Well, or 2 magnets. So, we'll see what we got. We're gonna take our little brush. Here's our line. Move some of that ink around. It's still dry, I haven't put any ink on it yet. Just gonna move some of that around. Pull it, push it, whatever works. Cross that little blending line. Okay? Now I don't really want to try to blend this line since my sandpaper wasn't there. It's just kind of a dark blob. So I'm just going to take that part off. So I'll put my sandpaper here. Hold it with a magnet. Give me a second magnet. One. 2. And I'm just going to take off this part. I'm not going to take off all of it. I'm just going to take off this part, the top part. Okay. Clean my ink off. Let me just make sure. Yeah. Hold this under. Another section. Now I'm just gonna just roll the top, nice and straight. Voila. Problem solved. Okay, now I may have a blend here. Let's see that. Little blend right here. your time with it. If you like the brush, use the brush. If you like the pencil, use the pencil. You can use the wooden edge too. Just try it, see whatever's working for you. Maybe a combination of things. No wrong way. Okay. Good. So now, all you have to do is this last little bit, sandpaper print, and that'll be done. I do recommend though, use the holes to your advantage, because then you don't have to blend a big section. So, we'll see what happens. It's about 100 degrees here in Florida. This ink is drying pretty quick. If you're in a cooler climate, or you're in the AC, it might take longer. Okay. I'm just going to print the face, following the curve. I'm not going to rock and roll this one. So when I come back to do the top now, I'm not going to move the paper, and I'm not going to put any paper here because I don't need to. I'm just going to lift it up a little bit. See if I can use my fingers to get it this way, and just roll right along the top like we did that other section. Seamless. So now we just have more blending to fix. We'll let that dry, and then we'll maybe tone it again. Should look pretty good. Okay, so I put my little pre-toner on. I'm just wiping that off. There are other various window molding trim pieces.
Yeah, on the bottom of the door. That pre-toner thing is optional, right?
Yeah, you don't have to do that. I just like to do it.
Because I don't want a bunch of people calling me saying, "What's this pre-toner?"
It doesn't work. Yeah, whatever.
Okay, I'm just saying.
You cannot do it. It's fine. I just like to do it.
It works for you,
It
doesn't
works
it?
for me. So let me get my next section. I'm going to go a little more ink at this point. About that much. Okay. I'm going to put it right on here and press a little hard because I want to get in that indentation. So I'm going to press down and forward. Then I'm going to rock and roll it. Even though most of this top doesn't really get seen. So here we have this. Use my sandpaper. Put it right on that edge. hold it with the magnet. Now I still have some wood grain left on this roller, so I'm gonna still use it. Go back, line that up. Rock it, roll it. Ta-da. So here's my little line. Just gonna touch it a little bit. Not much. Okay. That. So now here's another little window piece, the front windshield piece. So, same thing. See if we can get it all. I'm gonna roll it, I'm gonna rock it, and I'm gonna roll it. A little tiny bit here on the edge. Just gonna skip that. I might take a little ink on my brush. Not much. Fill in here where I kind of missed. That's that. Okay, so now we're doing the back window molding. So you know these are square, and you have a couple options on these. One, you can take your roller with your print and just squish it down into that corner as hard as you can. And that works. Another option, you have this little corner tool. So the way this works, like a stamp. So we'll just take this and stamp it onto the plate, like so. And now we've got those print right here. So then we'll just take it and put it into the corner like this. Clean it off like that. I'll do the next side. You kind of want a mitered corner here. Oh, went the wrong way. Take that off. We put a little paper to protect this first one from the second one. If you put something down it's not right, just take it off. So let's see now. I want that to go this way. That's better. So now I've got my corner done. So now I'll just continue. I'll put my sandpaper to the edge of that. I don't want to print over and make a dark spot. So now I can, once I've done the corner, continue the rest of the piece. So I'm just going to take this roller and push it down a little hard so it goes around that curve. And move my paper down right here. Take off this excess. I've got this big roller that I'm using, so I have about half the roller left to print on. So I can still use it. Blend. Touch up this side too. And keep going. So you finished.